Today I'm going to tell you the story of a remarkable mid-century modern home at Carina in Brisbane. I'm going to discuss a little bit about the history of the house as well as some of the architecture and design elements. It was designed by the renowned Brisbane architect John Dalton. I'm also going to have a chat to the current custodians of the house. I'm Marianne Taylor, the house detective. So I think you knew when you bought it that it was a John Dalton house, and yeah, you didn't know much more than that other than it was called maybe the McDonald house.
Yeah.
It was built for a lady called Irene Jeanette McDonald, which is where the McDonald house comes from. Yeah. She bought the land in about 1966 and then commissioned Dalton the following year, and it was finished in about 1968. Just to know how much input she had into the design would be interesting as well, because it's a custom design, and although it has a lot of Dalton traits, it's definitely not like anything else he's built either. In terms of the exact floor plan, it's got you know, the compact nature of his designs and the combination between the white walls outside and the dark timber and those sorts of things, and the beautiful ventilation and light. But yeah, how much of an input she had into it would be interesting.
I wonder if that's why, you know, being unusual, it's only a two-bedroom house.
Well, that's a good point, yeah.
Maybe it was, you know, obviously built for her and designed for her.
Absolutely.
And the cocktail
the cocktail cabinet
for Irene.
I love to think of her having, you know, a big group of really interesting intellectuals over, and you know, having a few drinks and cocktails, and it's a lovely thought, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
And I'm sure she'd be really happy with what you've done with the home as well, if she could see it
I
now.
hope she would. Yeah, we've tried, even, you know, after 50 years of wear and tear, I guess, on the house. But it's been lovely to be able to retain some of the features that we could, as much as we could, and then be sympathetic, I guess, to the design.
I think you've done a beautiful job of mixing the original features and new features, and you know, not slavishly copying the old design, but having a modern kitchen, for example, but including details from the original house. And
and I think the silky oak, the kitchen was all silky oak, as you know. But unfortunately the carcasses weren't, and so that we did have to replace that, which was kind of sad. But then we kept all the silky oak that we could, and then introduced it into the new kitchen as the handle. My brother made this, so you know, all bits and pieces of furniture wherever we could, we've kept from the old kitchen. I love even the fireplace too. I don't know if you noticed, but there's a little trapdoor at the back.
Oh, that's
that
fantastic,
goes outside
isn't it?
to just brush.
So practical.
Yeah,
so practical. As soon as you walk in, you can see, you know, John Dalton traits, can't you, in this place?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a replication of that vertical shape that goes up through the window and then up through the chimney.
Absolutely.
Which is gorgeous. You know, just to have that small part of the view rather than the big view is just, as you said, it's a little teaser, and it's, that just a slither of the beauty that's outside as well as brought in the light.
So what was once the garage is now your incredible studio and shop space.
Oh, it is, and we've just finished changing a few things around to just give a bit more space, area and light.
And it's actually quite funny, isn't it? Because your passion started and your art focuses on the old Queenslander homes, but you've ended up in a mid-century modern home. So have you always been interested in old houses?
Always. I think, you know, from being a kid playing with Lego and design, but they were mid-century houses then, because the things like the Women's Weeklies used to have the house plans in them for the mid-century houses. So being a 60s baby, that was sort of where I was at. So I think there's always been that passion for mid-century from then. I feel honoured to be in that space of Irene's.
Yes.
And to be able to continue, I guess, that love of that type of architecture. yeah, she said to preserve it for future, and we're losing so many, aren't we?
Absolutely, and I'm so happy to see a little bit of resurgence in interest of this, this era of architecture, because it's so important in the architectural history of, Australia, but Brisbane in particular, and Dalton was a key player. So to keep some of his houses and to keep them sympathetically restored and making them so that they're still livable for our standards, but also retaining the overall design principles, I think is really important.